everyone, Midit's here. If you aren't a huge Power Rangers fan, you may not know how long this show has lasted. Countless stories have been told across the 30-year span of this series. That's a pretty big accomplishment for any show, so there's obviously been a need to celebrate. In today's video, we will be looking at every anniversary special of Power Rangers, and we'll see if these episodes live up to the hype. I hope you all enjoy this video, and let's get straight into this. Power Rangers didn't do anything specific for their 5th anniversary, but with the series airing at the time being in space, they didn't need to. Therefore, we will first discuss the awesome 10th anniversary episode, Forever Red. The episode begins with remnants of the Machine Empire, the main antagonist from Power Rangers Zeo, on a secret moon base. Red Space Ranger Andros is looking over the base when he is suddenly seen. As their leader Venjix and others approach him, Andros morphs and flies away on his Galaxy Glider. After that, we get the comeback of the best characters in the show, Bulk and Skull. Their scene is great, especially if you ignore that Bulk was on another planet at the end of Lost Galaxy. You know what? Bulk and Skull know who the In-Space Rangers are, so you could probably explain it through that. Bulk and Skull receive a phone call, and they give it to a man in a lounge chair, Tommy Oliver. Lightspeed Red Ranger Carter recruits Cole, the Red Ranger of the current series, Wild Force. They arrive at Nasada, a NASA equivalent introduced in Turbo. Cole reunites with Time Force Rangers Wes and Eric, who he met in a previous crossover. Turbo Ranger TJ is introduced, and then Andros and Tommy show up. But a short time later, someone else arrives. Jason, the Mighty Morphin Red Power Ranger. This is the last episode in the Power Rangers franchise where we see Jason and Tommy together on screen. Because we haven't yet gotten our fill of Rangers, we cut to the planet Miranoi, where Red Galaxy Ranger Leo picks up his Quasar Saber. On the new Astro Megaship Mark II, we also see the new Alpha 7. This is the only episode he appears in, but Alpha 5's original voice actor comes back, so that's nice. The Rangers arrive at the moon base, and we get an incredibly well-made, unmorphed fight scene. This might be the best Power Rangers episode in terms of fights. Cole follows Venjix and the other leaders as they head to Lord Zedd's Zord, Serpentera. Venjix attacks Cole, but he is saved by Leo and Aurico, the Red Alien Ranger. This one part is admittedly pretty funny. Leo's actor was available for this episode at the last second, so he's only unmorphed for a little bit. So he demorphs, joins the others, and then morphs again a few seconds later. But it's worth it for the absolute peak that is the Red Ranger morphing scene, and with some especially huge explosions, we see that every Red Ranger is here, except for Alex from Time Force, but it's not like anyone will be particularly missing him. Rocky, on the other hand, Rocky was supposed to appear in this episode if Austin St. John wasn't available. While Steve Cardenas apparently moved addresses and wasn't able to be found in time either way, it's kind of a shame that his character was only seen as a backup, as he definitely was as worthy of being in this episode. We get another fight, which is again one of the best in the show. What makes this episode's fight special is that they are American exclusive scenes, and the people working on the show at the time were capable of making stuff that really stood up to the original. Venjix gets on Serpentera, and we get a terrifying CGI fight between it and Cole on his Wild Force Rider, which is the most Power Rangers way this fight could end. Cole is victorious, and back on Earth, we get some funny witty dialogue between the Rangers. Let's talk about this episode's story. Moving on, jokes aside, it's clear that having a good time is a higher priority than the plot in this episode, and it manages to deliver that aspect tenfold. I kind of wish this was a two-parter, so we could have gotten more scenes with the characters, but I am more than happy with what we got. I wish Rocky was in this episode, but I still have to give the show props, because a crossover this big is so incredibly rare. The fight scenes are top tier, and show that Power Rangers action is more than just flashy graphical effects. This is the gold standard of what an anniversary special should be, and they set the bar high for the 15th anniversary Once a Ranger. The series' main villains Moltor and Furious are brought to a cave by Thrax, who is the son of Rita Repulsa and Lord Zedd. Thrax offers an alliance to defeat the Rangers once and for all. The evil alliance calls out to the Rangers directly, and the Rangers are ready to deal with them. Thrax then uses his plan to combine all their evil powers to sever the Overdrive Rangers from the morphing grid, and it now seems hopeless. Luckily, Sentinel Knight, a powerful ally to the Rangers this season, protects them, but the Rangers still have no power. When the evil alliance returns, the Rangers still choose to fight. That's when the most unexpected group possible arrives. Green Mystic Ranger Xander, Red SPD Ranger Bridge, Yellow Dino Ranger Kira, Blue Wind Ranger Tori, and Black Mighty Morphin Ranger Adam. While not as big as Forever Red, this feels just as exciting because of how different these team members are. You've got 4 Rangers from 4 different series from the Disney era, and 1 Ranger who was there almost as close as you can get to the beginning. The Rangers begin talking at their base. Bridge mentions how he was the Green Ranger, then became the Blue Ranger, then became the Red Ranger. While I wonder what this episode will look like with Jack or Sky, Bridge was also incredible in SPD, and I'm glad to see him here. Another point of contention is that multiple of these Rangers lost their powers, but it's revealed that Sentinel Knight used his powers to restore their morphers. Things seem great until the Overdrive team realizes that they are relieved of their duties of being Power Rangers. So Operation Overdrive splits as the Retro Rangers take over. In Angel Grove, the new team is looking for something that Adam says will be helpful. Mac, the only one who stays at the Rangers' base since it's his house, is told by Sentinel Knight of a sword that can stop Thrax. Mac goes looking for the sword when he is caught by Thrax, but the other Overdrive Rangers arrive by his side. We then see what Adam found in Angel Grove was Alpha 6. Alpha is sent into the morphing grid to fix the Rangers' powers. As the Retro Rangers deal with the monster while using the Flashpoint Megazord, the Overdrive Rangers manage to get the sword together, and this returns Sentinel Knight to his true form. The Overdrive team decides to come back when Alpha returns from the morphing grid, having fixed their powers. We then get one final battle where all 11 Rangers fight the Evil Alliance alongside each other. While the others manage to get away, Sentinel Knight destroys Thrax, ending his plans for good. At the base, it's time for the Retro Rangers to leave, but before they go, the episode ends the same way the series began 15 years ago, with everybody putting their hands together and jumping into the air, celebrating the Power Rangers. While smaller in scope than Forever Red, this episode is still insanely fun. It's so hype when the Retro Rangers appear, with their respective themes playing, except Adam for some reason. There are great references to different small details from across the series, and the showrunners really put their all into the fights for these episodes. Overall, this episode perfectly carries the mantle of a quality Power Rangers anniversary special. The one thing I will say is that this episode makes the rest of the series look really bad. Anyway, it's time to test this video's title. Here's our 20th anniversary special, Legendary Battle. In the previous episode, the series' main villain, Emperor Mavro, attacks the Ranger City and sent out a message declaring his plan to take over the planet. People have reached their lowest moments, and what they need right now is heroes. That's when we see Carter and Dana from Lightspeed Rescue saving people from Rebel. Leo from Lost Galaxy saves a kid's dog. TJ and Cassie from In Space help people stuck in an elevator. And lastly, in a scene that feels very reminiscent of the Amazing Spider-Man movie, Tommy Oliver saves a kid from a car that's about to fall. Things seem hopeless, even when the Silver Megaforce Ranger Orion comes back to help. Orion and Red Ranger Troy decide to invade the Armada flagship and go straight to Emperor Mavro. This works as they manage to both defeat Mavro and take down the Armada fleet, but they can't celebrate yet as they have to deal with a whole army of X-Borg and Bruiser foot soldiers. As the Rangers are ready to fight, they notice something. Every single Power Ranger. Even some that never appear in the show. Although most of the extra Rangers aren't here, some of the Rangers then take off their helmets as we see the Rangers that came back for this episode. Tommy, TJ, Cassie, Leo, Damon, Carone, Carter, Dana, Wes, Mike, and Emily. The Rangers, with all their combined power, are then able to finally defeat the Armada threat. The Legendary Rangers leave, and the Megaforce team celebrates now that they've won. If that moment feels short, that's also how it feels watching it. It's hard to talk about this episode without talking about Megaforce as a whole. The past 2 seasons build up to this moment, and the final fight is half as long as Forever Red's fight. I obviously don't know the situations of all the actors, but I feel like the show easily could have gotten more than 11 actors to return. Heck, there are 2 Rangers that appeared earlier in Megaforce that didn't come back for this episode. As I mentioned, some Rangers from the original Japanese show that weren't adapted can be seen here, and that feels like another case of executives being lazy. We also don't see any extra Rangers except for the Magna Defender and the Titanium Ranger. And they somehow messed up the Titanium Ranger's helmet. Except for the American exclusive Titanium Ranger, all extra Rangers appeared in the Japanese version. I don't know if it's just me, but Megaforce has dialogue that sounds really forced. It definitely isn't the actors, because the previous Rangers who appear here also sound weird, but the entirety of Megaforce is filled with dialogue and speaking patterns that feel unnatural. Power Rangers has always been cheesy and more dramatized like a play, but things are just off. Once again, this should have been 2 parts, but in comparison to Forever Red, this story is seriously hurt by the short runtime. Might as well talk about the elephant in the room, Gokaiger. Super Sentai is the original Japanese version of Power Rangers, if you didn't know. This crossover was a whole movie, being 1 hour and 20 minutes long, and it feels way more fitting of a giant celebration than what Megaforce did. While I don't often compare Power Rangers Rangers to Super Sentai, it's hard to ignore Gokaiger when watching this. This crossover does have some exciting moments. They weren't able to fumble things that hard, but I wish we lived in a world where the show went the extra mile for this episode. Luckily, the scale is not as high in the 25th anniversary episode, Dimensions in Danger, so let's hope it rebounds from this. The episode starts with Tommy returning to his home from Dino Thunder, and there's a neat reference to his son from the comics when he's talking on the phone. Tommy's then captured by the villain of this episode, Lord Draven. Back at school, Mick brings the Ninja Steel Rangers to their hideout. There, Red Time Force Ranger Wes, Blue Dino Charge Ranger Koda, and Silver RPM Ranger Gemma explain that Draven has been going across dimensions, kidnapping various Rangers. They go to find Tommy, but see him at his house working with Draven. But they then quickly see that it's a robot copy of Tommy. When Draven leaves through the portal, the Rangers follow suit. It turns out that Draven is making clones of other Rangers. As the Rangers make their way to Draven's factory, they run into the real Tommy who escaped. They arrive at the factory and free the trapped Rangers, and everyone escapes except for Tommy, who's attacked by his robot counterpart. Earlier in the episode, Tommy morphed into the Black Dino Thunder Ranger, but now he mentions this new device called the Master Morpher. It allows him to also morph into the Red Zea Ranger and White and Green Mighty Morphin Rangers. While there are only a few Rangers in the show that could use this, it's such a cool idea that it helps to bring this episode up in my opinion. Tommy is victorious, but everyone now has to face a Robo Ranger army. We then get a morphing sequence with the Ninja Steel team and the Rangers that return this episode of Tommy, Rocky, Kat, TJ, Wes, Trent, Gemma, Antonio, Gia, and Koda. They manage to defeat the army, and with the help of Tommy's White Ninja Falcon Zord, they manage to take out Draven. Everyone then returns home having saved the day like before, and like they will continue to. While I think Once a Ranger and Forever Red are better, this is a pretty solid anniversary episode. There's some fun mentions of things from outside media, such as JJ Oliver. While I wish we could have gotten more time with these characters, the 10 returning Rangers get a decent amount of screen time. One issue with Legendary Battle I noticed later was that the returning Rangers were only from Saban era shows, so it's nice that we got some Disney representation with Trent and Gemma. In conclusion, this episode succeeds by being a fun little celebration of the series instead of some built-up massive event. There's only one anniversary special left, and special is most certainly the best way to describe it. The special begins in 2022 with the Mighty Morphin team fighting a robotic Rita Repulsa. Rita aims an attack at Billy, but Trini dives into the blast path, sacrificing herself to save Billy. 1 year later, Zack has become the guardian of Trini's daughter, Min. On the anniversary of Trini's passing, Zack and Min go to the cemetery, and there they see Robo Rita, along with other monsters, capture Jason, Tommy, and Kimberly. Billy tries to help Zack, but they are forced to escape in Billy's Radbug, a flying car he created in the original series. Zack and Billy head to a secret command center Billy made under a scientific institution he founded called Cranston Technologies. Here, Billy explains the mistake he made. In Power Rangers in Space, Andros killed Zordon, which released a wave of his energy that destroyed the evil in the universe. Billy thought that he could revive Zordon by finding any Z-wave particles. Instead, he got the remains of the wiped out evil parts of Rita, and she then returned by taking control of Alpha 8. Now, the new Alpha 9 tries to call on the other Rangers for help, and Kat and Rocky arrive. They also hear from Adam and Aisha, who are part of SPA, which is clearly a reference to the SPD team. They, unfortunately, are too far away to help quickly. Putties are attacking the city, and the Rangers noticeably see Min fighting at the juice bar. They then go to save Min and bring her to the command center. Billy, Kat, and Rocky successfully trap Snizzard and Minotaur, two of Rita's monsters, in an electromagnet. The Rangers then sneak into Rita's moon base, but Min sneaks out of the command center. This leads to her failing to fight Rita and being captured. In the base, we see other Rangers captured by Robo Rita. Rita then appears holding Min captive and explains her plan to use the Rangers' energy to go back in time and stop the Power Rangers from ever existing. The Rangers and Rita fight when Rita aims another attack at Billy. Min blocks the blast, but she somehow manages to survive. Min has failed to use the Yellow Ranger powers throughout the special, but as she feels the power transfer to her, for one final time, it's morphing time. After some fighting, Rita turns Snizzard huge. The Megazord is then summoned, and both Minotaur and the giant Snizzard are destroyed. An injured Robo Rita then tries in a final effort to use the time travel device, but she is defeated, hopefully for the final time. Adam and Aisha arrive to send the previously captured Rangers to Aquitar, and Kat and Rocky return home. Billy, Zack, and Min celebrate their victory at the juice bar, and Billy and Zack begin to tell Min about all the past adventures they went through. The special ends with a tribute to Tweed Trang and Jason David Frank, the latter having passed away in 2022 after the special had been produced. Power Rangers Cosmic Fury aired in 2023, and there have been no announcements about the show since. While this may have come out before Cosmic Fury, if there is no more Power Rangers content in the future, then this was a perfect ending for the entire franchise. This is by far the most serious piece of live-action Power Rangers media, but it's not dark or edgy like what a lot more serious fan-made Power Rangers stuff tends to be. It's heartfelt, and you feel it through everything. There's so many callbacks here that just scream how much love the people working on this had for the show. Rocky successfully does the spin kick that injured his back in Turbo. We get a Bulk and Skull reference with them owning a food company. Miranoi and Aquitar mentioned, and even the term Z-Wave was a fan-made term that eventually made its way here. This very easily could have just been a Mighty Morphin special, but it is a special for the whole show, even if Mighty Morphin is the main focus. When Alpha calls for the other Rangers, you can see the names of different cities and locations from across the show. The calling of the other Ranger teams is also known as the Bandora Protocol, which is Rita Repulsa's name in Zyuranger, the series Mighty Morphin adapted. This feels like Power Rangers at its greatest potential, as each team is part of something much larger, and different series seamlessly connect. But it's not just references that show how much passion was put into this. Once and Always has the most emphasis put on the characters out of any live-action Power Rangers media. As someone who watched the show up to the Neo Saban era, and really needs to watch the Hasbro era shows, some of the scenes here got me genuinely emotional, especially with the final tribute at the end. It's clear this franchise is capable of so much more, and it's honestly sad the current state of things for the show. Power Rangers has struggled with having owners who care little about the series, from people or corporations taking cost-cutting measures or actively sabotaging the show's popularity. Time after time, it's always been the writers, directors, and actors taking the charge to keep the show great. While the state of the series right now is uncertain due to the same issues that have plagued the series multiple times, I'm glad that, at the very least, we were able to get this send-off. Okay guys, apparently I didn't know about this news. A new Power Rangers series is in the works with Disney. You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me! I hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, check out some other content. If you really did, subscribe so that you know when future content comes out. I have a Patreon, so check that out if you want to see my videos ad-free. That's gonna be it for now, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.